What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about the INFJ blind spot of extroverted thinking. It's the function that we like the least, it's the one we ignore the most, and I know how I feel about extroverted thinking. It's not something that comes natural to us. We don't want to think this way. This goes against who we are. But if we completely ignore this aspect, then we will not be able to take advantage of all those gifts that we do have as INFJs. I mean, think about it. How often have you thought that you know what the next step is going to be, that you know how things are going to turn out, you know where your intuition could guide you, and still your life doesn't improve in the way you want? Most of the time it has to do with our lack of extroverted thinking, because we just need a little bit of that. We have to make sure that our plans fit into reality in order to create and make a change. Otherwise, they only happen in our mind and we won't be able to make a difference in our day-to-day life. Before we get started, I want to remind you that you can now book one-on-one coaching with me, all the information you find below. And if you book a discovery call before February, then you get access to the current prices. In the MBTI world, we INFJs have 4 functions: introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and extroverted sensing. And if we're not careful, and we've talked about this so often, we will go in a way of the NITI loop, meaning we're going to be that much more reclusive, meaning we're going to detach from reality. And this will cause us pain. I have yet to meet an INFJ who tells me, oh, I've been in the NITI loop for years and I feel great. My life is just blossoming and I'm happy every single minute. No. That's not the case. We think that this is gonna cause us peace. We think that this is going to lead to that much more happiness, but the reality is it's not. And it's not because it leads us to a place where we have one world that we live in our mind and our reality doesn't reflect that. There is a gap there and we really get uncomfortable in this. Everybody would, right? This is a psychological dilemma and much more. You feel like there's so much you want to say in the world. There are so many ways you could express yourself, you could grow, you could connect with people, and it's just not happening. It's like you're an observer and the world is happening outside of your power, and that doesn't have to be the case. So let's think about it. If we are not being careful, what do? We go into introverted mode. We don't engage our external functions at all. So when I say go and use your external functions more, go into FE, go into SE, and we're also going to talk about how to go into TE as well, you will see that you will be a balanced INFJ. You're not going to be an ESTP or try to be an ESTP or try to be an ENFJ. You will be a more complete INFJ, and you'll see how all of those ideas that you have, they will come to life. You will see how you'll impact other people more. You'll see how you're growing, how you'll have more energy. And the thing is this, you won't feel this until you start, because our natural tendency is to go inwards. So it's not about following your intuition. It's not about following where your thoughts are guiding you, because they will guide you always to the same place, and that is the NITI loop. It's our default state. That being said, that does not mean that going into NI or going into TI is something bad. Not at all. This is who we are. These are the places where we'll find our biggest gifts, where we find our biggest inspiration, where we find our biggest power. We just need something that will anchor them in the real world. And that's why we're going to talk about TE. So TE is extroverted thinking. And the way I remember this is these are externally observable facts. So if you say, for example, oh, I have this connection with this person and you can't really see it from the outside, that's a TI kind of statement. It might be true, I'm not saying it isn't, but it's not an externally observable fact. If somebody wrote you a message where they wrote you, I really like you, that's an externally observable fact. If you say, I'm focusing on myself, I'm growing, I'm meditating, I'm really trying to find the next version of myself, that is in many ways not a TE statement. A TE statement would be, I did apply for 5 jobs. I did start my blog and I blogged once a week for the last 4 months. I ate healthy the last 4 weeks. I did wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning after having slept 8 hours because I worked on this. These are externally observable facts, TE. A great example for this is also if you have somebody in mind that you really, really like, and all your time you're spent contemplating about that person, about the relationship, how this this could be, but nothing happens in the real world. Your life doesn't move into the direction that you want. What your intuition will tell you, this is the truth, you have a connection, that's the right person. TE will tell you a completely different story. Or how often have you been in a situation or you've met people who said, oh, I do want to have a relationship, but the fact is you don't do anything to meet anybody. You sit at home, you don't do online dating, you don't ask your friends to introduce you to anybody, you're not taking any steps to make something happen. Law of attraction could be a great example for this as well. If you go about it in the INFJ self-sabotaging way, it would be, I sit on my couch, I wish to be rich, or I wish to have friends, I wish to have everybody understand me and to like me and to respect me. But the truth is that you're still sitting on that couch. Nothing has changed. Things are going on in your mind, but you haven't connected with one person on your values. And if you have, then it's maybe one person, and then you put all your eggs in this basket. That is not TE. TE at that point would be, I do share my thoughts with others. I do have a blog. I do have a YouTube channel. I write my book. I go out and share my art. I started my business. I aimed for that higher job. I put in that application. Those are TE steps. I'm saying this so deliberately because we will always do everything in our power to avoid this. Our mind wants to protect us from danger. Our mind wants to keep us safe. It's not going to do the things that will expand our world unless we actively do the things that will make it happen. It's not going to happen automatically. It's not going to happen on default mode. If you create habits and you make sure that those habits are in place, then yes, all your gifts that you have as an INFJ will come to fruition. But if you don't have that, if you're not disciplined enough to make those things happen, then everything is at waste. It's like you're having this great idea that could change the world, and the only person you've shared this with is the person in the mirror. Maybe not even that. Maybe you haven't even said it out loud or written it down. It's just in your mind. And you know what? If it's only in your mind, it could not exist at all. It wouldn't make a difference. You wouldn't be able to change your world with that. Because no matter how powerful our intuition is, no matter how powerful our mind is, if our world doesn't reflect this back to us, if it doesn't give us a little bit of feedback of that the world is changing in that direction, you will get weaker and weaker in this aspect. One of our biggest gifts is that we can hold on to a truth, that we can hold on to a belief. This is the TI thing, the NITI loop, but in a positive way, right? If you don't go overboard with this, this can give you the determination, the discipline, and the longevity to really see something through. It won't work if you say, oh, okay, I want to have that one job, or I want to be with that one person, because you cannot control if the people are going to hire you. You cannot control if that person is going to like you. But if you say, I want to be in a relationship where I'm happy, I want to have a job where I'm being appreciated, then that is something that you can hold on to. And then if you take the steps, if you make sure that you don't ignore extroverted thinking and that you solely rely on your imagination and your own thought processes, if you do that, if you go into the world and you just include those little aspects into your daily habits, into your tasks, into your goals, you will see how your world will adapt. It will come closer to what your mind wants it to be. You've heard this so many times. If your reality doesn't represent what you want, then hold on to that belief and your reality will adapt. We've all heard that. Most of us are into personal development. This has a lot to do with spirituality or with goal setting, with the law of attraction, right? And these things do work, but they do work if you actually put something out in the real world that makes it change. It can be the way you talk to people, the kind of relationships you have, because then the people that you used to attract, they wouldn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. You wouldn't care about them either. I'm not talking about solely romantic relationships here. I'm talking about just every single person that you come into contact with. If you've been used to being bullied all your life and this feels like home, you'll naturally allow bullies in your life and you won't recognize it. You will feel like you're being mean if you cut them out. But if you're able to really change that mindset of yours to go into the next next level, to imagine a world where everybody is being at peace and everybody's helping each other and people are motivating each other, and you take the extroverted thinking steps to make that happen, then you will get to a point where you can turn your ideas into reality. We as INFJs don't need much in the real world to move things forward, but we do need something. Because if you don't have anything that represents your thoughts in the real world, you'll detach from it completely. You'll have a reality break, because then you'll get to a point where you have this image of how the world is, but your reality represents something different. You see people acting in a way how you would never have imagined. You see how things are working out that don't make sense to you. When you were sure that things were going to turn into this one direction, and then they do the exact opposite. I've been in this situation more than once, and I've talked to so many INFJs who've experienced the same thing. This is a point of reality break. This is holding on to a certain belief and not wanting to see the truth. That's a completely different story than to say, aim to have a better world, aim to have goals. Don't be as small as your current world. Dream bigger and your world will adapt. It will only adapt if you take the steps. And the steps, and this is something that is so important for us INFJs to understand, these steps, they have to be externally observable. And you can't expect yourself to be aware of them automatically. I'm still not able to do that most of the time. And I've been working at this for years. For us INFJs, it's really difficult to distinguish between what's only in our mind and what is in reality. Again, this can be a huge benefit to you because you will be able to hold on to a vision longer than most other types. You'll be able to hold on to a vision when you see obstacles. But the point is to take steps that can't be deniable. Steps that will make a difference in the real world. Steps that other people can see, they can react to it, they can get to know you better, and that will give you the feedback to create even better visions for your life. Through sharing my world, through sharing my thought process, through connecting with other people, through my truth. And I'm not just talking about this channel. I'm talking about how I chose to live my life. The fact that I said, okay, I'm going to quit my job. Although for most people that looked like the perfect career. Well, for me it wasn't. And the fact that I said no to this made it clear to so many people who I am. Not completely, of course. Nobody will ever know you completely, but much more than before. We always go through life thinking people understand us to some extent. I know we INFJs always say we're misunderstood, but there's still a part of us that automatically feels people understand where I'm coming from, because that's how I see the world, and automatically that's how other people see the world. You don't even question it. The fish doesn't question the fact that it's in water. It's not aware that there are animals outside of the water who've never been in the water, who've never experienced water, and therefore would experience the world differently. That's the same way it is for us. So unless you take those steps, those externally observable steps, and you gotta ask yourself over and over again, am I taking them? Am I making that progress, or have I been in my mind for the last 2 or 3 weeks? Have that conversation with yourself over and over again, and you will see that you'll become much more aware of what is really only in your mind. It won't be perfect, but it will happen quicker. You'll remember that certain steps are necessary in order to move forward in the real world, and then you're not gonna question them. You know that you're going to have those habits. You know that you're going to take those steps. And before you know it, you will start feeling bigger. Your energy will be able to grow. You won't feel like you're being pushed into this corner, how so many INFJ feel. And being pushed to the corner feels like you have no energy at all. And I don't want you to feel like this. I've been there. I've experienced this more than once, and I know how painful it is. But I'm also here to tell you this doesn't have to stay like this. Take on those externally observable steps. Stop staying still and rethinking things and contemplating over time. You will do this anyways. You will naturally go into that default state and use those gifts. You don't have to worry about losing who you are or your INFJ-ness. That thing will stay there. But if you balance yourself out, if you make sure that you take those little steps into the other direction that isn't natural to you, you will be able to expand to an extent you never thought possible. Remember, if you want to take the next step in creating that INFJ epic life that represents all of this, and you want my help with it, then work with me privately. All the information you find below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on why INFJs always wait it out. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.